Tonight on NewsWatch, increasing violence on the U.S.-Mexico border and why residents say Washington is hurting them, not helping. Plus, the Texas town that's open for green business with a solar farm. And Nigerian Christians under attack by radical Muslims, why they say their government isn't doing enough to protect them. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening, I'm Lori Johnson. That massive blizzard has finally moved away from the East Coast. It forced airlines to cancel 7,000 flights, which cost them about $100 million. As Paul Strand reports, it also took a toll on many Americans.
The massive snowstorm cost many airline passengers lost days and much frustration.
It's my first trip to New York. I came for Christmas. I had a thoroughly good time until now.
With impassable roads, many got stuck in airports and may still not be able to fly away till Thursday.
I was supposed to go out of here today at 11 o'clock, 11:50, and now it's still Thursday.
Yeah, take 4.
Sarah Beth Brown's been ping-ponged around the Atlanta airport for days.
I had a flight to LaGuardia 2 days ago. Then I had another flight yesterday into LaGuardia, and then a flight this morning into White Plains that got canceled. Staying positive, I guess, you know, nothing I can do.
Strangers Karen Dorsch and Kim Stonebreaker both ended up stranded in Atlanta trying to fly to Myrtle Beach.
I don't have, anywhere to go as well, but
Right.
I have my father driving here from Myrtle Beach. He left at midnight last night. He should be here within the hour to come get me, and her.
Yeah.
And I don't even know her.
Out on snow-jammed East Coast roads, many people had to abandon stuck trucks and cars or sleep in them. Those at home face massive plowing jobs.
I had to work all day, so didn't get to it till now. My back is feeling the pain.
I'm trying to shovel out of this disaster, this snowstorm of 2010.
At this moment, Gizzo was digging out his daughter's car. Why wasn't she?
Because daddy's little girl.
But Melanie Johnson did her own digging.
I actually don't mind. I grew up in a family with all sisters and just one boy. So I got out there with my brother and dad.
You'd think all this nasty winter weather might shake the faith of the global warming crowd. Not so. They say a warming Earth is causing more extreme volatile weather. So, hot or cold, they blame it all on global warming. Paul Strand, CBN News.
The Obama administration has restored one of the most controversial provisions of the new health care law. The New York Times reports the new policy will let the government pay doctors for end-of-life counseling. That counseling could include doctors telling patients not to try everything medically possible that might keep them alive. The measure was dropped from the original health care bill after heavy criticism. Opponents said that could lead to, quote, death panels because the doctors could have some patients prematurely give up on treatments that might save their lives. President Obama will use his State of the Union speech to address America's skyrocketing national debt. His advisors are combing through the controversial recommendations of the President's Deficit Commission, but they're not hinting which ones he might support. The commission recommended spending cuts and freezes, cuts in entitlement benefits, some tax increases, and eventually raising the Social Security retirement age. The president will deliver the speech in late January. Gasoline could hit $5 a gallon in the U.S. within the next few years. That's the prediction from the former president of Shell Oil. John Hoffmeister told Platts Energy Week television that oil prices will jump as the world economy gets stronger, and that could lead to record gas prices in the U.S. by 2012. One topic that dominated the national conversation in 2010 was immigration and the problems along the U.S.-Mexico border. Chuck Holton was in Arizona recently, and he shows us how Americans are risking their lives to fight the drug war along the southern border. And they say Washington is actually hurting, not helping them.
H.L. Cooper has been flying ultralight aircraft around southern Arizona for more than 20 years. This incredible view shows the vastness of the desert along the Arizona-Mexico border. But along with the beautiful vistas of mountains and saguaro cactus, Cooper sees another sight on a regular basis from his vantage point in the sky. Illegal aliens transporting drugs across the desert, bound for America's 5th largest city, Phoenix.
Nowadays, there's a whole lot more drug running than there used to be. It's one of the highest traffic areas this valley here and the next valley over there. That's the Ulster Valley over there, and it's a heavily traveled route there.
Illegal immigration has always been an issue. What's changed is the level of violence.
It's been getting worse and worse, but as far as safer, no. We're right in the middle of it. When they come out of this valley, we're one of the first places they come to. We've been vandalized, we've been stolen from. We used to hike all over the desert out here. Anymore, now we don't go out without being armed.
And the problem isn't only on the ground.
The Border Patrol reports that drug runners are using ultralight aircraft like this to bring loads of drugs across the border and drop them in the United States. But they're not the only thing in the sky.
Recently, the Border Patrol started using remotely piloted surveillance aircraft to patrol the desolate stretches of desert where smuggling is prevalent. These eyes in the sky also help the effectiveness of agents on the ground. But residents along the border say more needs to be done. Rancher Ed Asher's neighbor was murdered by a drug runner earlier this year.
When I first moved to this country, most of the activity you saw was people going north looking for a job. The last several years it's changed into mainly outlaw activity. They pack dope north, drop it off, and on the way south they like to break into homes here on the American side and pack off things. They really like to steal firearms, and 80% of the homes have been burglarized in the last 2 winters by illegal aliens.
And we're seeing it. We have more illegals that come through our county than any other county.
Further north, Pinal County Sheriff Paul Babu says his hands are full protecting residents here from the drug violence, and he hasn't gotten much help from the federal government. In fact, the Obama administration recently supported the ACLU in bringing a lawsuit against Babu and several other Arizona sheriffs, suing to stop them from enforcing Arizona's immigration law.
This is a hotbed for criminal activity. We need soldiers, armed soldiers to the border now to stop this from continuing. In response to our plea for help and for armed soldiers, they put up these signs, not written in Spanish, not facing south to the Mexican border, but facing north in English, warning to our citizens, travel not recommended. This is unacceptable.
While the war of words continues in Washington, the people of southern Arizona face weapons that are much deadlier. This year alone, the drug war along the border has claimed more than 2,500 lives. That's nearly 5 times the number of American troops killed this year in Afghanistan.
I believe that this is a greater threat against our national security than any other threat that exists today, an unsecured border.
Pinal County law enforcement regularly encounters armed drug smugglers who have all but taken over wide areas of this high mountain desert.
From this point on, it's a standing order that we don't come more than 2 deputies coming out here due to one of our deputies getting shot in the leg.
In addition to the danger, trash left by illegals is becoming a major environmental hazard.
Okay, so this is kind of what we're seeing here. The illegals come down out of the mountains, come across the desert for 3 to 5 days walking, then they dump all their stuff here next to the freeway, get on trucks, and head into Phoenix. But this is something interesting. Notice this bag, it has an American flag on it, and it says United States Aid from the Agency for International Development, USAID, aid from the American people. This is a bag that we sent down to Central America filled with bulgur wheat, and now it's coming back filled with drugs.
But piles of garbage are the least of these deputies' worries as they continue to face attacks, both from drug runners and the federal government. Chuck Holton, CBN News, on the border in southern Arizona.
New Year's is usually when you warn people about drinking and driving, but AT&T has a new hard-hitting documentary about a way its products are misused that's every bit as deadly.
The first thing I noticed about her was her shoes, lying in the roadway in a large pool of blood.
A policeman mourns the death of a texting teen.
She was going to graduate the next day. It's just sad. Sorry, it's just sad.
This documentary's true stories of teens and tragedy pull no punches about texting and driving. This girl sent the text that distracted her driving sister.
If I got talked to her one last time, I would just say I'm sorry.
You meet a passenger forever crippled when the driver's texting caused a crash.
And it was a direct collision.
There's a young man who killed a cyclist while texting.
I sent one stupid, meaningless text, LOL, and killed the man.
AT&T lays it on the line to teens with its documentary premiering this week.
You are 23 times more likely to get into an accident if you're texting and driving. We don't want anyone to use our technology unless they're safe.
30 states have laws against texting and driving. The developers of Kentucky's Creation Museum have another biblical entertainment venture in mind. They're planning to build a full-size replica of Noah's Ark as part of a $172 million theme park. The Creation Museum opened 3 years ago outside of Cincinnati and has already drawn more than 1 million visitors. Investors believe the Noah's Ark Park could attract 1.6 million visitors a year. The Kentucky Tourism Board granted the park a preliminary tax approval for tax incentives. A scientist who applied for a job at the University of Kentucky says he didn't get the job because he's a Christian. Martin Gaskell was considered a top candidate for a prestigious position at the Student Observatory. One member of the search committee said he was breathtakingly above the other applicants. But other members of the committee said he was something close to a creationist and potentially evangelical. Gaskell's lawsuit against the school goes to trial in February. We'll be right back.
Hi, Anthony Sullivan here for ShaveMate. All-in-one razors, Titan for men, Diva for women. Simplify your shaving, simplify your life. ShaveMate razors combine 6 premium blades and thick, rich, real shaving cream right inside the handle. So you'll never have to deal with the mess of cans of shaving cream again. ShaveMate is the perfect shaving solution for home, the gym, a business trip, or vacation.
It's everything in this one little package. It's perfect.
You get a great shave every time. I think it's going to change the way everybody shaves.
Order right now, and I won't just double the value, I'll triple it, absolutely free. We'll even include our convenient shower hook. You get a total of 3 shave mates in your choice of Titan or Diva, and the shower hook, all for only $9.99. Here's how to order.
Order now. Call 1-800-655-8514 or go to ShaveMate.com. That's 1-800-655-8514 or go to ShaveMate.com.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, call now for a new pain-free meter. These new meters are more accurate, they're easier to use, and the best news is you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. Call now and Arriva Medical will send you one of these new meters for free. And if you have Medicare, your testing supplies may also be covered. Arriva makes it simple. They bill Medicare directly. There are no upfront costs. And they deliver your supplies right to your door for free. With these new meters, there's no coding, you don't have to prick your fingers, and some of these meters even talk.
Your blood glucose reading is 122.
And if you call 1-800-284-9762, we will send you a free Betty Crocker Diabetes Cookbook filled with delicious recipes.
Call Arriva today. You'd be glad you did.
We hear much about the coming green economy and green energy, but one entrepreneur in one Texas town aren't waiting for the future. They're committing right now. Paul Strand explains.
Dobbin Mehta has wanted to build a flagship solar farm for a long time to prove harnessing the sun's power can be economical, practical, and profitable. Now his company RRE Austin Solar has cut a deal with Pflugerville, Texas to use nearby farmland for amassing 400,000 solar panels that can power up to 7,000 homes.
It's absolutely going to look like a lake from the top.
Pflugerville gets its name on the project and some $750,000 worth of free solar panels to place all around town.
We're open for green business. Our council has made a concerted decision. That's the direction we want to go. Pflugerville is going to become known as a solar city, and Texas is going to become known as a solar state.
There's a bonus in this down economy, 350 new construction jobs.
With as big as this project is going to be, there are going to be supporting businesses that come to Central Texas, and Pflugerville plans on being first in line to lure those businesses into our community.
Paul Strand, CBN News.
A section of ancient city wall has been discovered by archaeologists in Jerusalem. Some say the find confirms the biblical account of the city's existence at the time of King Solomon. Chris Mitchell has that story.
Some archaeologists believe King David and King Solomon were mythical characters. But others, like Eilat Mazar, say archaeological finds from 3,000 years ago prove differently.
I think that more and more we are facing the evidence that the biblical stories contain quite accurate descriptions of reality.
The excavations just outside the old city of Jerusalem uncovered an ancient city wall complex from the 10th century BC.
We see very beautifully, I think, how massive the fortification line circles the area of the Ophel, which is the area in a strategic location between the city of David and the Temple Mount.
Mazar says the giant wall, more than 220 feet long and nearly 20 feet high, testifies to a ruling presence in the city at the time of King Solomon. The area includes a huge gatehouse and corner tower overlooking much of the Kidron Valley. Pottery from the 10th century founded the site, and dozens of seals with Hebrew inscriptions, including royal inscriptions, helped to date the wall to King Solomon's day.
This goes most beautifully with what the Bible tells us about King Solomon, who built the new wall of Jerusalem around the temple and around the new area that he was building, connecting it to the old city of David.
The area was excavated by archaeologists as early as the 1860s. However, Mazar says her excavation was the first to uncover the foundations of the site. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
You can keep up with all the day's news by going to our website, cbnnews.com. Up next, violence against Christians escalates in Nigeria.
CBNNews.com. News you want, when you want, 24/7. Stay current with up-to-the-minute stories.
David Brody, CBN News, Capitol Hill.
I don't have to wait for my news anymore. CBNNews.com, at your fingertips all day long.
I only watch the stories I want to see. I find the story, I click on it, and boom, I'm there.
I'm Chris Mitchell, reporting from Jerusalem.
The source for your news, CBNNews.com.
The doctor came in. I was still waking up from anesthesia. He leaned over my bed and he said, "Laura, you have cancer." And he walked out of the room. The first thought is, what's going to happen to my children?
It's pretty rare for a person as young as me to get Hodgkin's disease. You would think, am I going to be here next year? Am I going to be able to spend more time with my family? And that was really hard.
The doctor says I would like to have his wife, his pastor, and his two best friends present. Then you know you're about to receive really bad news. There was very little hope given to us.
I just wanted this cancer out of me. I wanted to take care of it and move on.
We saw an ad on TV for Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and when I called them, I was very surprised that they were so quick to help us.
The second that we walked through the door, I knew that was the place that I wanted to be. If it wasn't for their kindness and giving, it would be unbearable to be able to go through something like that. And I honestly don't know how people who don't get that are able to handle it.
We were looking for medical care that would help us fight cancer, not manage it, but to actually fight it and beat it. And that's what we found.
Most people thought that that was a death sentence. I knew that I wanted to fight this. I knew I wasn't going to let that happen to me.
If you're a winner and you're a fighter and you're strong, you're going to stay that way. Your mental makeup, your attitude that you've taken your whole life with you, you're going to keep that attitude.
I said, let's just do it, and let me go on with my life.
Call now and we'll send you this free DVD that shows you how the most compassionate group of people anywhere puts you at the center of everything we do. Advanced medical treatment combined with unique supportive therapies give you treatment options you may not even know exist.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is the way of the future. Patients are now taking control of their own healthcare destiny.
I truly wondered when he had cancer if I would ever get him back. Thanks to Cancer Treatment Centers of America, I have my husband back.
A mob attacked and killed 6 Christians in the Central African nation of Nigeria on Christmas Eve. It happened in the northeastern city of Maiduguri, which is mostly Muslim. The mob dragged a pastor from his home and shot him to death. They also killed 2 members of the church choir and set the church building on fire. 30 people were also killed in a bomb attack in the city of Jos on Christmas Eve. All this has Nigerian Christians saying their government isn't doing enough to protect them from militant Islam. Thousands of Nigerian Christians have been killed in recent years. Gary Lane has the story.
One of the worst attacks in recent years occurred last March 7th. Unlike many previous raids on Christian villages, militant Muslims attacked the village of Dogonishawa late at night instead of during daylight.
When you attack people who are sleeping, innocent people who are unprepared, that's a massacre.
Many villagers were hacked to death or burned alive in their houses, and children as young as 5 years old were among the 500 Christians murdered. And there was another first. Many of those who survived say the militants leading the attack were firing AK-47 assault rifles. Emmanuel Ogebe is with Advocates International.
It's a whole new level, completely, that we haven't seen before. They are nomads whose weapon of choice is machetes and bows and arrows. So we want to understand how they got these sophisticated weapons.
The Nigerian government promised to investigate, punish the perpetrators, and act to help prevent future incidents. Despite those assurances, another attack against a Christian village came last October. Again in the middle of the night. Again automatic weapons were used. Mark Lipto arrived on the scene shortly after the raid.
Our team got there at around 4 a.m. and what we saw was these 6 people massacred, within the pool of their blood, and houses were set ablaze. About 21 houses were burnt now. And then there were gunshots, like holes of bullets through the doors.
Lipto says he talked to many survivors, including a man who explained what happened to his family.
His house was set ablaze as the family was trying to escape. His wife was, hacked and massacred and killed in the presence of his children. 3 of his children, one little who was about 5 years old, was burned alive, trying to escape.
Most of the recent attacks have occurred in central Nigeria and Plateau State. 12 of Nigeria's northern states are ruled by Sharia Islamic law. Dr. David Carling is a missionary to Nigeria. He says Plateau State is a key battleground.
It's standing in the way of this jihadic desire to bring the Islam into the whole country. So they're unleashing everything, and it's linked. Unfortunately, it's linked with outside agencies and forces.
Carling first came to Nigeria in 1958, serving as a medical missionary. He suggests Islamists have become more violent and aggressive in recent years because Nigeria is crucial to their plans to spread Islam throughout Africa.
Everything's been unleashed in a horrendous way in Nigeria. It is actually a strategic nation, no doubt about that.
No one has been tried and prosecuted for any of the thousands, literally thousands of deaths that have occurred in Nigeria in all the years that we've had this sort of crisis. Our objective is to end the impunity. There has to be a point where we say no. Enough is enough. We're not going to have this anymore in this country. There must be consequences for taking the lives of people.
And what should Christians around the world do?
We can pray, we can support, we can understand. And obviously there's a huge response that's needed financially as well, but that's something else the Lord needs to lay on people's hearts.
Mark Lipto agrees, but he believes an important mission for his Stephanos Foundation is to bring forgiveness.
Our aim is to enable the Christians in Nigeria to learn to say we are forgiven the perpetrators. If we don't do that, then we are cheated twice. Because apart from the hurts, apart from the killings, the lives that are lost and properties lost, we will also lose the values, the core value of Christianity, which is love.
Gary Lane, CBN News.
Up next, a wounded warrior returns home. A special Christmas for one very special soldier.
Finding video on CBN.com just got easier. We've taken all our video, the 700 Club, news, testimonies, teachings, plus our 24/7 channels, and put them in one convenient location, CBN TV. Watch what you want, when you want. It's all simple to find, and now easier than ever to email a story to a friend. CBN TV on CBN.com.
The doctor came in. I was still waking up from anesthesia. He leaned over my bed and he said, "Laura, you have cancer." And he walked out of the room. The first thought is, what's going to happen to my children?
It's pretty rare for a person as young as me to get Hodgkin's disease. Well, you would think, am I going to be here next year? Am I going to be able to spend more time with my family? And that was really hard.
The doctor says I would like to have his wife, his pastor, and his 2 best friends present. Then you know you're about to receive really bad news. There was very little hope given to us.
I just wanted this cancer out of me. I wanted to take care of it and move on.
We saw an ad on TV for Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and when I called them, I was very surprised that they were so quick to help us.
The second that we walked through the door, I knew that was the place that I wanted to be. If it wasn't for their kindness and giving, it would be unbearable to be able to go through something like that. And I honestly don't know how people who don't get that are able to handle it.
We were looking for medical care that would help us fight cancer, not manage it, but to actually fight it and beat it. And that's what we found.
Most people thought that that was a death sentence. I knew that I wanted to fight this. I knew I wasn't going to let that happen to me.
If you're a winner and you're a fighter and you're strong, you're going to stay that way. Your mental makeup, your attitude that you've taken your whole life with you, you're going to keep that attitude.
I said, let's just do it, and let me go on with my life.
Call now and we'll send you this free DVD that shows you how the most compassionate group of people anywhere puts you at the center of everything we do. Advanced medical treatment combined with unique supportive therapies give you treatment options you may not even know exist.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is the way of the future. Patients are now taking control of their own healthcare destiny.
I truly wondered when he had cancer if I would ever get him back. Thanks to Cancer Treatment Centers of America, I have my husband back.
An Arizona family celebrated a very special Christmas with the return of their wounded son. A crowd of family and complete strangers were on hand to welcome Army Ranger Corey Remsburg home. Corey was critically injured by a 500-pound roadside bomb on his 10th deployment to Afghanistan. He was in a coma for 4 months, and doctors had to remove part of his skull. Now, after months of tough recovery, Corey is reunited with his family just in time for the new year.
It makes us whole again. So we are very excited about him being home.
This is so moving and touching that he could do that. For this young man to be able to come and be with his family after 15 months of being in rehab and in the hospital is really touching and meaningful.
He's got a great attitude and just keeps working hard. It's very inspiring.
The Patriot Guard riders were waiting outside the airport to pay tribute to Corey's sacrifice. They even gave him a special bike escort home. That's all the time we have for this edition of NewsWatch. Remember, you can email us your comments and questions at newswatch@cbn.com. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again next time.